So unfortunately, that little vegan cafe that made news a little while ago for having a man tax is shutting down. The man tax was, of course, exactly what it sounded like. You're a man, you pay more. Sexism defined if you ask me. But located in Australia, this is just another example of frankly how hypocritical and far gone this social justice movement has become. Long gone are the days of treating everyone based on the essence of their character or who they are as a human being. But no, the very movement that fought for disregarding race and gender in terms of how you treat people, well, they have become what they hated. If you walk into this vegan cafe, every aspect leading up to who you are in that moment is cast aside. And the simple fact that you have the wrong body parts and were born with a certain chromosomal makeup means that you pay extra money. Now, this vegan cafe had every right to do this. They can implement whatever policy they want to, but I'm glad to see it wasn't a marketable move. These people do precisely the same thing that racist shop owners in the US and throughout the world did when they saw someone of a certain ethnic background and they charged them more money or they kick them out of their establishment. They are seeing a certain level of melanin and pigmentation in one's skin and they make a snap judgment about them and they treat them in a more negative fashion based off that judgment. So these racist lowlives, and ironically these so-called progressive former vegan cafe owners, all engage in the same low-level form of thinking. And by the way, this is not just relegated to this vegan cafe in Australia. We see the same nonsense occur in the US at least. As much as we hear about how women are held down, or there is a privilege out there that women don't receive, or that women are microaggressed upon, I very rarely hear the instances in which this happens to men, and it certainly does happen. How about ladies' nights at bars and nightclubs? I try not to go to places like this, as I'm not much of a drinker anyway, once in a while maybe, but I have been dragged to these places before, and all the girls I'm with go right in while I'm standing in a line with a bunch of other dudes outside getting $40 out of my wallet to just walk into the place. And the ladies get their drinks immediately, and they get them either for free or heavily discounted, and I'm paying full price, again, just because of my genetic makeup and body chemistry. Now, these establishments, again, have every right to do this, and I understand why they do it. It's an enticement for women to go in there for the low cost, and it's an enticement for men to go in there for the women. Like I said, they have every right to do this, but let's not kid ourselves that this does not punish men, not for anything that they did, but for what they had no hand in choosing. And furthermore, as long as microaggressions are still being talked about, I think it's fair to point out something that might be considered a microaggression against men. It's something that was talked about quite a bit in the past, but I seldom see it brought up anymore, although it still exists, and if you watch TV for an hour, you will probably see an example of it, whether it's a television show, a movie, a commercial, or even print advertisements. Men are routinely characterized as bumbling, idiotic, moronic, helpless buffoons that wouldn't be able to get their pants on in the morning if not for their heroic, level-headed wife. Now, I could honestly not care less about this. I've never lost any sleep over it, but I do think it's fair to point out to people like those who ran this failed vegan man-taxing cafe, they seem to be under this impression that men are immune to some of this nonsense they claim women have to deal with. Well, all you need to do is go out into the real world and pay attention, and you'll see that that is not true. Hell, there might even be a cafe that charges you an extra fee for just being a man. Well, there was one anyway, but they failed and closed up shop. But that is it for now. Like and subscribe because it's a huge help, and I will see you later.